would like to welcome everyone to the Robert J. Conley Literary Landmark Dedication Ceremony. My name is Michael Haynes. I am the Library Director at the Cushing Public Library. I would like to thank the Friends of the Cushing Public Library, Friends of Libraries in Oklahoma, FOLIO, and the Cushing Public Library staff for helping out with today's ceremony and putting it together. I would also like to thank Cushing Public Schools for the use of their gymnasium. At this time, we are honored to have a few people with us. We have Chairman Robertson from the Cushing City Commission with us today. We also have Dr. Frank Denny, the Chairman of the Cushing Public Library Advisory Board. And we have Barbara Rich, the Secretary of Friends of the Cushing Public Library. And at this time, I would like to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Karen Newell.
Thank you, Michael. Can everyone hear me okay? No?
How about that? I might use my teacher voice occasionally. It is my honor to serve as MC for this dedication, and I would like to open with a prayer and a blessing for those who are here, so please bow with me. Dear God, thank you for this very special occasion and for all the people who are joining and gathered here today. Thank you for Robert Conley and all of his wonderful writing that we are here to honor him and his legacy. Please bless all of his family members who traveled from afar to be here and those who were not able to make it. And bless everyone who is here today, and may we all have safe travels home and good health. Amen. I'm a professor at the OSU Library in Stillwater and a board member for Friends of Libraries in Oklahoma, FOLIO for short. FOLIO is a statewide nonprofit organization whose mission is strengthening libraries in Oklahoma. FOLIO brought the National Literary Landmark Program to Oklahoma in 2001. There are two of my colleagues on the FOLIO board who are here today. Ms. Jerry Hendon drove over from Tulsa, and Ms. Judy Pott drove over from Elk City, Oklahoma. So I'm glad to have them here with us. We are very honored to have several of Robert Conley's family members with us today. I would ask them to stand as I recognize them, and we will hold our applause to the end. Evelyn Conley, wife of Robert Conley, will be speaking later. Evelyn lives in Claremore, Oklahoma. Evelyn's sisters, Teresa Snell Roberts, Vicki Snell, and Linda Snell Cooper of Claremore, Oklahoma. Sister cousin Barbara Roberts of Clovis, California. Evelyn's daughter, Cheryl Williams of Tahlequah. Evelyn's grandson, Levi Williams of Tahlequah. Evelyn's granddaughter, Whitney Joe Cooper, husband Joey, son Jalen, and daughter Anaya of Tahlequah. Evelyn's granddaughter, Savannah J. Glass Lopez, and her husband, Eric Lopez. And nephew, Raymond Snell, wife Sharon, son Noah Snell, and daughter A.J. Snell of Pryor, Oklahoma. Join me in welcoming these family members, please. Did I miss any Conley family members? Okay. This is a special Day. Literary landmarks are national designations of United for Libraries, a division of the American Library Association. Started in 1986, literary landmarks honor special community locations tied to a deceased author or his or her work or literary figure. There are over 200 national literary landmark sites in the United States, including the Robert Frost Cottage in Key West, Florida, the Edgar Allan Poe House in Philadelphia, and the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. This literary landmark dedication today marks Oklahoma's 16th site, and Oklahoma currently ranks 3rd in the nation for national literary landmark sites. New York and Florida are ahead of us, but with 5 more, we'll catch up with Florida. It's going to take us a little longer to catch up with New York. Oklahoma sites include the Centennial Kids Place Park in honor of children's author Bill Wallace in Cushing, the Osage Nation Museum in Pawhuska in honor of John Joseph Matthews, and the OSU Library and Community of Marshall, Oklahoma in honor of Dr. Angie DeVoe. Robert Conley is the 5th Cherokee to be honored in Oklahoma, joining Lynn Riggs, Sequoyah, Will Rogers, and Wilson Rawls. All Oklahoma sites are listed in your program, along with the sponsors and partners for today's event. It is my pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker. Dr. Carter Bloom Clark has extensive experience in Indian country. He is a member of the Cherokee Nation and a ceremonial traditionalist. He serves as Vice Chair of the Board of Regents for the College of the Cherokee Nation in Oklahoma. Dr. Clark received his BA, MA, and PhD degrees from the University of Oklahoma. He is a faculty member at the Oklahoma City University School of Law, where he teaches courses in Native American legal issues and religion and United States history. Dr. Clark is the author of 2 books, maybe more, I'm not sure. Lone Wolf versus Hitchcock, Treaty Rights and Indian Law at the End of the 19th Century, and Indian Tribes of Oklahoma, a Guide. Dr. Clark's spouse is Sherry Sullivan. They have 3 grown kids, Leah, Lydia, and Samer. Please join me in welcoming one of my favorite people in Oklahoma, Dr. Bloom Clark.
I did not recognize the person in that introduction. With your permission and the leadership, I will remove my mask so I can speak more clearly and so I can see my notes. I'm a geezer, so it falls from my bifocals and I can't see anything. My wife has readjusted things, lectured me, done work. So thank you for understanding. When I first came, I met Dr. Haynes, who has we've exchanged emails as well. It's the first time I have physically met him, and we were chatting, and he said, Lou, I haven't heard you speak before. And I said, oh my. And he said, keep it brief. So I should. I thank Master Ceremonies as well, with whom I have worked on the OSU campus in the library, on Dr. Angie DeVoe, whom I grew up knowing as a child into adulthood. She and my father in the Depression era, I worked in Oklahoma City on Oklahoma historical figures and events, and I spent a lot of time with Dr. Bo, whom I still regularly like. Secondly, for any indigenous occasion, it is customary over the last decade or less for any speaker who is indigenous to recognize the prehistoric and historic indigenous peoples of the ground on which the speaker is standing. So I want to recognize Proto-Wichita bands who became a separate Proto-Wichita entity around 3,000 years ago in this region, just about the same time as the pharaohs were evolving in Egypt. Also to bring it down, and there have been many others, native peoples who have passed across this land, obviously, and bring it down in the present to the sacrifice as well. I also need to begin with the finest of Indian languages, Muskogee, Owen, or Creek language. Owen is any sound that a creature makes, in this case, speech. We hope. I said, Robert is awesome. And I will back that up as best I can. These remarks are brief. My thanks to Evelyn and family and all who are before me, because wherever you come from, across the street or across the country, it is a challenge in this modern contemporary era. You bless us by your presence. You bless us in honoring the Conley family and the individual I'm about to discuss. Robert Conley loved the written word as well as the spoken word. From my knowledge as a friend of Robert, he wrote often and well. He saw the big picture and put it into prose. These are rare qualities. He was a good friend of mine through the years. He was a source of information on not just the Cherokee Nation and its many activities, but the larger Indian country. He represented Indians right not just the Cherokee, but indigenous peoples everywhere in his chronicling of creation, lives, events, aspirations, tragedies, and loss, but also triumphs. Robert Conley spurred others to write about their indigenous background and beliefs, including in a wide-ranging and varying media, such as painting, as well as pen by him and others, both in fact and fiction about tribal activities. In my mind, he served as a beacon of literary hope, much needed in the world now more than ever. I think of Robert as a dynamo of output. He and I, in his conversations, would astound me. He was cranking this out and cranking that out. And as a historian, I do it tiny letter by tiny letter. It takes forever. For a distinguished professor at universities, I always found Robert down to earth and even salt of the earth. I believe in today's jargon he would be termed grassroots, and I mean that in the finest of traditions. It is most appropriate and fitting for Robert J. Conley to be remembered with a marker. He frequented libraries, both written and human oral traditions. So it is most fitting for Robert J. Conley to have a literary landmark plaque erected in his honor. In my humble opinion, we will not see the likes of him again in the unique combination of his finest qualities. And lastly, next to last, almost last, I guess. Pimpaki, nectar, a flex key. From the Algonquian to the Muskogee to the Muskogee. I just said happiest of Thanksgiving to all of you. Ned is the word for day. Afutski is the command of joy or happy, be happy or have happy. Pimpate is the word for turkey, so literally it means happy turkey day. And that goes back in time. Pimpate probably is from the proto-fox Pindiwa, but again, it's not done. Very lastly, to your relief, I borrow from Robert's own sense of humor as I conclude. Please repeat after me. Mother. Mahai. You said thank you. Others speak.
Thank you, Dr. Clark. And now, Cushing High School drama teacher Shelley Austin will lead some of her students in a reading from Mountain Wind Song by Robert Conley. And Ms. Austin will introduce her students.
Thank you so much for having us here today. We are very pleased to be here in honor of Robert Conley. I would like to introduce the students that will be reading today. First, we have Ethan Howe, Lindsay Ledgerwood, and Valerie Cunningham. Ethan.
I remember the first time I heard the wind song was Misty Hills above the hills. The dogwood was in the room, my belly was full of green nut soup and chestnut bread that Elise, my grandmother, made. After we had eaten our fill, Grandpa had led me up the footpath behind the house and took us on to the top of the hill. There was no reason, no particular reason, I mean. We weren't gathering grapes or berries or raw lemons. We weren't going hunting. We just climbed down the path on top of the hill and sat down in the sweet grass among the passion flowers and thistles beneath the dogwood and sorrow trees. Grandpa took out his corncob pipe and tobacco pouch out of the pocket of his baggy khaki trousers. He slowly filled the pipe bowl, folded up the pouch, and stuffed it back into his pocket, and poked the pipe stem in between his tight, folding lips. He reached into the breast pocket of his khaki shirt up for a wooden kitchen match, which he struck on the sole of his shoe. He held the flaming match up in his hands against the gentle breeze which was stirring the air around us. Then he puffed out his pipe, sucking the flame from the match down into the bowl until he had his back over. He broke the matchstick and shoved the pieces down into the earth. Then he leaned back against the trunk of a big white oak and puffed continually, sending clouds of white, lovely looking smoke spiraling through their way up to the heavens. I stretched out on my back in the weeds and folded my hands behind my head. I was looking straight up into the sky, and I tried to imagine what it was like inside. Grandpa had told me to imagine that it was a gigantic ball holding the earth, kind of like a cereal bowl turned upside down over a saucer. And we were walking around on the saucer under the bowl. I couldn't see Grandpa looking almost straight up the way I was, but the smoke kept drifting across my village.
The smell of the burning tobacco and the fresh smells of the hills, the dogwood blossoms, the sweet grass, and the multitude of other aromas of the North Carolina Smoky Mountains, and I loved it. It was just about perfect. Being up there on the hill, my favorite spot with Grandpa, my favorite person in the whole world. So I was just laying there like that, and enjoying the company of Grandpa, and the smells and the sights and the sound of the birds and the chattering squirrels. And it was just then that I kept playing a song. And it really was a song, or it was just like a song. I pushed myself up on my elbows and looked around. I guess I almost expected to see someone, whoever it was making the music, I guess. And then I looked at Grandpa, but he was just sitting there quietly smoking his pipe. Grandpa, I said, he just kept talking. What was that? What changed, he said. He called me boy like that, grabbing the corner by my right ear, which is the boy, and sometimes he called me Sonny. Sonny is what Daddy would call me, and Mom called me either Sonny or Williams, but most of the time, Grandpa called me Chooch, boy. That sounds Grandpa, I said. It sounds like a song. Oh, he said, and a smile formed on his little old round face. It is a song. It's a love song. A love song, I said. It's a love song with Owen and Cushing with Owen. I don't think I said anything then, but I sat right up and stared at him. He had that smile on his face, and the twinkle in his eyes rang me so well, and I could see that he had a story to tell me. He always looked like that when he had a story to tell. He puffed his pipe, and the smoke rose up high before it dissipated and vanished on its way up to God's house on the other side of the sky. Have you heard about that story, he said? No. Well, it was a long time ago, he said. Back then, the Cherokees had all this land, not just our little reservation here that we have now. We had lots of land. In North Carolina, in Georgia, in Alabama, in Tennessee. The Cherokee Nation was real big back in those days. He paused to puff on his pipe, and he pointed off to the north where the mountains got higher. There was a town off over there called Sequoyah, he said, and there was a man who lived there. He was a chief. His name was White men can't say that. They called him Wister. That wasn't his original name. He changed it to them, and I'll tell you why he changed it. His original name was Blossom. That means something that's leaning over and it keeps falling. That was his first name. But here's why he changed it. When the United States Army went to war with the Creek Indians way back in 1813, and Andrew Jackson was the general, some of the Cherokees joined the U.S. Army. Sam Houston, he came in with the Cherokee family, and he joined them. So did this man I'm telling you about, this Blossom. He joined the Army. Well, there was a big fight at a place called Horseshoe Bend, down in the Creek country, down in Alabama. Grandpa pointed out when he said that. Whenever he was telling the story, he would always point out the direction of any place in nations. Like it was just down the road there, and he could get up and go around and look at it to come right to. He paused to take a few deep steps on his pipe. There at Horseshoe Bend, he said finally, this Cherokee man, he keeps falling over, stepped in between General Jackson and the creek that was just about to kill the general, and falling over all the time to save Jackson's life. He killed that other man. Then the Creeks were hunted down the roadway back with strong log logs across the river from where Jackson's men were at, and Jackson put it down. This Cherokee man I'm talking about. He led some other Cherokees down into the river and they swam across and sneaked up behind the Creeks and surprised them. Then Sam Houston was able to lead his out from the front from across the river and they lived the Creeks. So this Cherokee man, he not only saved the general's life that day, he also pretty much won the fight for him. Poor soul Hickory, that's what they called Jackson. He got all the credit. Probably that's what made him elected president. And he knew he did. He knew what happened out there. After the fight was over, he went to this man, his loving over man, and he said, as long as the sun shines and the grass grows, he said, you and me are going to be friends, and the feet of the Cherokees will be full of peace. That's what he said. Well, later on, when Jackson was president, that's when they were trying to make all the Cherokees get out of here. Move out west so the white people could have all of it. This man said he would go talk to Jackson. He said that Jackson was his friend with God. He remembered what Jackson had said to him after the big fight at Wister, and he figured that the president would remember the man who had saved his life and helped make him a big hero by winning the fight that day. He said the president would remember his promise and help the Cherokees out. But Jackson wouldn't even let him forget, so that man told his friends, Stetson knew about me. I tried and I failed, and that was how I got his name. Soon about me, he tried to let go. Jules. His sound of the wind song grew louder this time, and it was beautiful, but it was also just a little bit eerie, and it made me shiver. Grandpa puffed at his pipe, ready to run out. He took it out of his mouth and tapped it against his shoe. But this story's not about me. Not about Jules, he said. It's about the love song we do. It's about Jules' daughter. Her name is Owen.
Grandpa stopped, and he took time to refill his pipe and light it again. And I was so anxious to hear the story that I thought it was taking him an extra long time to attend to that ritual. I even suspected that he was purposefully dragging it out just to make me wait, to build up suspense, I guess, or to test my patience. Off in the distance, the rapid pounding of a woodpecker suddenly disturbed the silence, and an urge to get up and search for it intrigued my anxiety over the unfinished tale. My indecision was resolved for me, however, when Grandpa resumed his story. Well, he said, like I told you, that Wister, he lived over there at Sequoyah. He was a chief, a town war chief. You see, back in those days, we didn't have one big chief like now. Each town had its own government, and they had two chiefs, a war chief and a peace chief. The peace chief, he He was the guy in charge of things at home when there wasn't any fighting going on. The war chief's job was to deal with the outsiders and to take over any time there was a war. It was the white man that caused us to get one big chief over all the Cherokees. And because each town had two chiefs, when we did get that big chief, we called him the principal chief, like the main chief over all the other chiefs. Even with the white man pushing for it, it took a long time for the Cherokees to agree to have one big chief and one government for all the Cherokees. The reason that it take a long time ago, we had that, or something like that. We had priests who had all the power. They made the people build mounds and temples, and they got carried around wherever they went. They could do just about anything to anybody. Then one time, a man had been out hunting, and when he came home, he couldn't find his wife. He went around to all of his neighbors, and for a while, nobody would tell him anything. Finally, one of his neighbors said that while he was gone, the priests came and took his wife away. So the man got some of his friends and neighbors together, and he said to them, "We've taken just about enough of these priests." And they all agreed with him. So they all killed the priests. They had themselves a revolution right then. And all that probably happened not too long before the first English colony was set up in these parts. Anyhow, the Cherokee wouldn't allow a strong central government to develop after that. They let each town have its own government with two chiefs and a council and advisors. They had democracy. And that's the kind of town government this guy Cherokee was a war chief in. Just about there, Grandpa took a breather to puff on his pipe and to watch the smoke rise. And the way he was watching it, he made it look so interesting that I just sat back and watched it too. Then pretty soon he started talking again. This Cherokee had a wife. Her name was Conley, same as the name they call our reservation here sometimes. And they were very much in love with each other, Cherokee and Conley. They were happy there at Ceremonies. They were real happy together. Sometimes it just seems like a man and a woman are meant for each other. They belong together. It's like God made them for each other, and He kind of pushed them together. I don't know if it's like that for everyone. If it is, then I guess some folks never find out who it is they're supposed to be with. Maybe that's why the world is so crazy these days. Maybe most people are just running around crazy looking for the one they belong with, and when they don't even know they're looking for it or what is wrong with them. The ones who do find each other, they're the lucky ones. They're the ones who know what life's all about. I feel that way about me and your grandma, and that's how it was with Gymnasium and Conley. They were just the right people for each other. Well, they had a little baby girl. Her name was Owen. I don't know what that word means because it's not a Cherokee word, but there used to be a small Indian tribe in these parts with a name that sounded like that same word. I think maybe Culley came from that tribe. And when they had their Lucy, their little one, they gave her that name, the name of her mama's people. But that's just my guess. Anyhow, she was a pretty little baby, and Cherokee and Culley were just about as happy as they could be. But it didn't last long. Culley took sick, and she died while Owen was still just a baby. Cherokee, he was so lost and lonely without his mama that he wanted to die and go with her. He wanted to find her there on the other side of the big skylight. He knew that she was up there somewhere, just waiting for him to come along. He cried and he called out toward the skylight that he wanted to go. He didn't want to stay on this world any longer. Not alone. Not without Culley. But one night when he was sleeping, he had a dream. Or maybe it wasn't a dream. Maybe it was real. Culley came down and talked to him. "You can't come with me," she said. "Not yet. Our baby has lost her mother. You have to stay for her sake. When she's grown and has found her own man to look after her, then you can come to me. I'll be waiting for you." So Cherokee stayed on to this world to raise his little girl, and even though he missed Culley so bad that it hurt him, and he never stopped thinking about her, not for a minute, he loved little Owen very much. She was a lot like her mother. She was the only thing Cherokee was living for, and it was hard when he had to raise this little girl. The state's government all around us and the U.S. government were all ganged up on the Cherokees and the other Indians. They wanted all Indians to get out west, to move west of the big river, the Mississippi River. savages. I'm not too sure what that word means, that savage. But I guess it just means that we didn't live the same way they did. They said savages steal and kill people. But they stole from us, and they killed our people. So I don't really know what they meant by that. But they said that Indians were savage, and they didn't want savage neighbors. But mostly I think they just wanted all of our land. I think that's why they wanted to kick us out. But that was going on. Junaluska knew that it was hard times, and he knew that his little girl would need him. So he stayed here. And that's the place where the story really starts. The story about the love song.
Thank you, Ms. Austin. Thank you, students. If anyone hasn't read Mountain Love Song, hopefully you're inspired to read it now. It's a powerful story with the element of the grandfather sharing the culture with the grandson. It's the love story. And Robert Conley did a masterful job of weaving in historical documents into this powerful, amazing book. And did you know that Robert Conley's book, Mountain Wind Song, is dedicated to his wife, Evelyn? He wrote, "For Evelyn who leased, my wife and my Okoichi." Evelyn and Robert were married 38 years, and we're especially honored with Evelyn's presence at the ceremony today, and she will share some words with you shortly. Evelyn Conley was born at Tahlequah and raised in the Delaware District in northeastern Oklahoma. She is a member of the United Kituwa Band of Cherokees in Oklahoma and comes from a long line of community leaders, including Black Fox, who was a tribal leader in the early 1800s. Her paternal great-grandmother was Darky Black Fox, mother of Susan, who was her father's mother. Her husband, Robert, was a Sequoyah Distinguished Professor in Cherokee Studies at Western Carolina University. He is also a published author with over 80 publications to his name. Evelyn's educational background is in criminal justice studies, tribal government, and rural community development. Presently, she is on the advisory board of the Indigenous Education Institute, a Washington State-based national international organization with the purpose of preservation and contemporary application of Native American traditional knowledge. Please join me in welcoming Evelyn Conley.
I wear this mask that props my glasses up. I can't see what I'm reading. I'm glad to see everyone here today for this special event and to be able to help dedicate this memorial for Robert. At a memorial for Robert in 2014, his cousin, Charles Van Hyde, gave a speech, and I refer to his words here. There are a few gifted people whose work and influence extends beyond their death. Robert Conley was one of these people. did. Charles said that Robert was a highly gifted writer, and he had a lifelong interest in his Cherokee ancestry. That combination is rare. Concerning this dedication today, it is great to know that this recognition of Robert's legacy is going to be here. He truly deserves this worthy homage. This dedication is a wonderful tribute to Robert and his work, and quite appropriate for a man with a life and career like Robert. On behalf of the Conley family members, I would like to say thank you to the sponsors and partners who have worked so diligently over several years to make this literary landmark a reality. Thank you all. Friends of the Cushing Public Library, friends of the libraries in Oklahoma, United for Libraries, the division of the American Library Association, the Cushing Public Library, and the Cushing Public School District. It has taken many hours of attention to bring together all of these special people today for this special event. Thank you, Michael Haynes, Director of the Cushing Public Library. Thank you to the Cushing High School drama students for their participation today, and to Dr. Karen Newberg for guiding this event today. Special thanks to Dr. Carter Ruth Clark, a longtime friend, colleague, and mentor for his keynote address. Thank you to my family members who dared to venture out during this unnerving time in our country. Robert's sister, Peggy, wrote that this dedication is so very nice. He's in pretty illustrious company. I'm so proud of him and so glad that Cushing Public Library and partners are doing this. I wish I could attend. Due to COVID, I will stay in Texas for now and plan to visit at a future time. End quote. Again, thank you all for this beautiful tribute to Robert's legacy. He is among some pretty distinguished company. What an honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Evelyn. So now we've come to this exciting moment of unveiling the plaque, and Evelyn would like all of her family members to join us at the front for this special part of our ceremony today. So if you would make your way down, please.
presented for libraries, literary landmarks, register. Robert J. Conley, literary landmark plaque, 1940 to 2014. A citizen of the Cherokee Nation. Robert J. Conley was born in Cushing, Oklahoma. Conley held the prestigious position of Sequoyah Distinguished Professor in Cherokee Studies at Western Carolina University. His numerous literary awards include 3 Golden Spur Awards, the Western Writers of America's Owen and Wister Award for Lifetime Achievement, and the Errol Gibson Lifetime Achievement Award. Conley's use of Native American protagonists was groundbreaking. Some of his best-known books are The Cherokee Nation, A History, and Mountain Wind Song, a novel of the Federal Peers. Cushing, Oklahoma is designated a literary landmark. Cushing Public Library, Friends of the Cushing Public Library, Friends of Libraries in Oklahoma, FOLIO, November 7, 2020. So nice. What can I say? Do come up and do this. I guess the location for this will be outside.
It will be in the library.
It will be in the library? Okay. Thank you again so much for this honor for Robert. This is a great day.
Thank you, Michael, and Cushing Library and Friends, for dedicating Oklahoma's 16th National Literary Landmark. And now, a representative of the Cushing Library Advisory Board will close our ceremony.
On behalf of the Cushing Public Library, the staff, and the board, and the friends of the library, we'd like to thank you and your family for choosing Cushing and for sharing Robert with us this morning. Really important to preserve history. That's part of what we did today, recognize accomplishments. I had a chance to visit with Ellen just a few minutes before we started today. I asked just to describe Robert Cushing. She said 2 really good things. She said he was calm. I'm a veterinarian, and one of the best traits I can tell people when they bring a dog in is calm. That's really a great compliment for people as well as animals, and we need a lot more of that. She also said that Robert was a very giving person. He liked to share himself, his knowledge, particularly with younger people who are trying to get into becoming authors, and to be described as a giving person, that is also one of our attributes. So thank you for choosing Cushing. Thank you all for coming